No, exactly. Like, and here's the thing. Like, also, I want to talk about like identity shift too. As long as you start acting as if you are a guy that does do these things. So like I'll talk about like the four pillars of masculinity. So your fitness, your finances, your focus, your communication, right? If you have those things in line and you're working on those things, then you start to act as if a guy that is, even 5 years ahead in the future. Like when I would go out and I was 18 and I was approaching women, I was approaching women every single fucking day. So even though I had no experience approaching women, I was acting like a guy. I was taking the same actions that I would, 5 years from then when I was fearless approaching women. So I was taking the same exact actions. Maybe I didn't feel fearless. Maybe I didn't feel good about it, whatever, but I was taking the same actions as if I was. Really, your identity comes down to like a lot of times, like what you're doing. Like, and a lot of you guys don't understand that. And so if you guys can realize that, like simply by changing the actions that you take, like simply by going out and talking to a woman that you want to approach, or by, you're sitting at home sad, and maybe your identity right now is I'm sad because my girl broke up with me. Like the mother of my children left. Like I saw someone leave a comment earlier. Mother of my children left. This woman left me. She was the one, whatever. Why don't you just go and just do a little social experiment or like a little brain exercise? What would happen if I didn't have my heart broken? Like, how would I act if I was actually completely over this? How would I act if I wasn't going to let this affect my happiness? Like, how would I act then? And then just go out and try acting like that. Like, not pretending, don't pretend to be happy, but like literally just when I say act, I mean like take the actions. So like, if I was in my shoes when I was happy, if I'm happy and I'm like pushing myself to get better and I want to get myself out of the situation, how would I act then? Because like I feel like shit now, but where do I want to be in 5 years? How would that guy act? And then you just start doing it. You just do something.
And feel like shit the whole time. It doesn't matter. Or at least like that. You're going to feel like shit that first day. If you feel like shit right now, you're just going to go out, you're going to feel like shit. But yeah, the important part is, like you just said, just taking those actions that get you there.
Exactly.
And really, I mean, you can think of it almost like a video game. If you're just dropped on this earth as this character, everything that's led up to this point in your life, I don't know if you're watching this, maybe you have been laying around and eating Cheetos. Maybe you've been laying around watching movies. Maybe you just had a breakup. That all happened. Or maybe you've been doing really well. I don't know, building a skill. But everything that's led up to you being this person has led up to you being this person, right? You have all these like attributes. So view yourself as like this character. Okay, what do you want next? What kind of attributes do you want to add to your character now, to who you are? And just go around in the world and like have fun doing it. Like if you want to get more confident, go out and talk to a girl and watch yourself become more confident as you do that, because you're getting used to doing something that you're not used to. And then same thing, like go to the gym, start lifting some weights, watch your muscles grow. Like really, really take care in who you are and who your character is.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the things that really changed my life was realizing that like when I was getting good at game and I was learning how to talk to women, I was like, okay, what would the ultimate version of myself do? I had known about a few coaches before and I was like, well, I probably do want to get coaching. I just like can't, I just like couldn't get the money together or whatever. And then I was like, what would the version of myself that got really good with women do? Well, he got coaching or he got help. Like maybe he like got a course or whatever. I think at the time when I was like 19, I ended up like buying a course. And so I was like, it was like $600 or like $700. And I was like, okay, well, if that's like the ultimate version of myself, like that's just what I have to do. So I just like figured out like I was broke as fuck. Like I didn't even think I had a job. I was super broke. And I was like, well, I guess I'll figure out a way to do like a payment plan or something. And so like I like split a bunch of payments and shit. And like it was fucking like insane. Like I didn't have any of the money, but that was something that I had to do in order to get there. And so I had a choice. I could have like waited until like I have the magical money, or like waited till I had the magical like perfect timing to like do the thing I needed to do. Or I could have just I could have gotten past that roadblock right away without having to wait. The fact is, everyone watching this, there's a result you want. Okay. There's a result you want in your dating life. There's a result you want in your life where, maybe you want to feel more like a man, maybe you want to feel more masculine, more confident, you want to feel more social, like whatever that is, whatever that result is. You want to attract women at will, whatever the fuck, you want options, all that shit. Whatever result you want, there are maybe 2-3 things that you're not doing that you could do that would get you that. And the fact is, like, you could just start doing those. And sometimes you don't know what those are, so maybe you need help. And sometimes you do know what those are. Like a lot of you guys probably know, just be in the fucking gym, like go into the gym, like lose some weight, eat less Cheetos. Like there's a lot of things that you really could do that would completely change your life. And the only thing keeping you from that is like 2 or 3 things. Like we're trained our whole life to think that like success with women, success with anything is like very complicated. It's not complicated at all. There's like when a client comes in, we set like 2 or 3 goals and we give for 12 weeks of coaching. Like these guys are paying us thousands of dollars to coach them. We coach them on like one key focus per week, and they completely change their dating lives over the course of that 12 weeks. Like we had Arna, he came in and he actually like had, I don't even think ever been on a date like in his adult life. Like he had been on dates in high school and stuff, and like that's it. And this guy's like 18, like completely new, never talked to women, super shy, couldn't even imagine that a woman would even like him. That was like a big thing for him. And then literally like a month in, he's going on dates with like grown women, like 21, 22-year-old women that like girls that I would go on dates with, right? And he's like going on dates, taking them home. Like it's a crazy transformation. And like it's absolutely insane because he just did the few things that were keeping him. He made the few changes that he needed to that were like keeping him from getting to those results. Like that's really what it takes. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to reply to some of like Jeremiah's comments because I noticed a trend from some of his earlier comments of like kind of comparing men to women. So like not my issue, but bitches say that all the time about dudes, or get 3 to 4 girls just like they do with dudes. It's only fair.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna like judge anything that you're saying, but I just want to point out that if you're doing things to, I don't know, spite women, or if you're comparing your life to a woman's life, it's kind of that's a bad road to head down, because men and women are not the same.
Yeah.
By focusing on like, oh well, she has this, so I have to do this because of her, like it's gonna keep you from actually just focusing on yourself and improving your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's actually true. So like the fact is, like the reason you should want multiple women in your life is because you want it. Like it's not because women do it too. It's not what, like there's no roadmap for like what the perfect man's life looks like. It's like, I want to have a lot of women around me because I want that, because that's like fun for me. It's how I keep my masculine edge. I keep like I keep way more on point when I have women around me that are like challenging me and shit. And they're like, I see them being attracted to me. It's like, it's really, really like important for me. It's very, very powerful. So like when you have that, like doing things like that's actually a big thing for like that, like red pill guys will do, where, and I'm not just talking about Jeremiah. I'm actually talking about just like in general. I think it's like a bad mindset to have where like guys will get really obsessed with like, oh, well, women do it. And then like women do this, so I have to do that, or that's how it, oh, but women do it, and that's not fair. And it's like, yeah, but we say the same shit to women. Like I see these fucking podcasts with these like red pill idiots that are like talking about like Fresh and Fit, where they have girls on that are like already stupid. It's like already girls that are dumb, and then they like are talking to them, and they're like, oh, but like we're not the same. Like women will say, oh, well, if you can have a lot of bitches, then I can have a lot of guys. And it's like, their whole argument is like, well, we're not the same. But then those same guys will turn around and be like, oh, well, I need to have, a lot of girls because, you have a lot of dudes. And it's like, no, not really. Like you need to have a lot of options because that's what would make your dating life the best. Like that's what's going to attract her the most. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter what she's doing. Doesn't matter like what she's actually like up to, or what, none of that matters.
I will point out too that like, I think, I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong about this, but I think girls are happier when they're, or not, it's not about happiness, but girls will just not cheat on a guy if that guy is giving her everything that she needs. Like it seems like girls are more inclined to like just be with one guy. But the reason that it's important for guys to have options, at least, even if you are in like a monogamous relationship, to be like okay with walking away or like willing to walk away, and also to have your higher purpose above your relationship with her. Like that's important because it well, related to dating, it's actually, in my experience, it just brings more there's more attraction from her, because girls love attention, right? But if you give them all of your attention, then they're not going to be chasing you for attention. But if your attention is worth a lot, so for example, you're dedicated to your higher purpose, you have a lot of options, you have a lot going on in your life, then when you give that girl that you're with attention, then she's going to value that attention a lot more. It just really pays to have shit going on in your life, and also to have options, partially so that you're just not like so obsessed with like the one girl that you're with, because she doesn't want to be like the center of the universe for you.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like here, I think this is actually like the most important part when it comes to like being like having options. The reason options are important is because, you know how we talked about, you know, you get on this upward rise as a man, like you start going up and up and up, you're like on your potential, you're really grinding, and your life gets better. And then you run into that girl and then you like plateau, right? When you meet that girl, the girl that you actually want to date, that you want to keep in your life, you need to like really like ride that out and not commit to something like platonic, or not platonic, to something like monogamous for like a while, especially if you're like new, because it's not just because like it's going to keep you way more on point. You don't want to get caught. Like that's why options are important, because options are like, for when you have options, it's a time for growth, right? And for a lot of guys, that's the place where, you know, if you want to maintain a bunch of options, you got to stay on point. You got to stay like really locked in and like really like hungry as a man.
Yeah.
And so that, I think that's really like why options are like the most important.
Yeah. And I think a lot of guys might be able to relate to it this way. I remember like 5 years ago and before, even sometimes recently, it'll just come up where I just know that if I'm not talking to a lot of girls, if I don't have options in my life, I just feel really needy. And I almost used like talking to women as like almost like a coping, or not a coping mechanism, but like a fix for not being needy. Cause like if I'm just focused on one girl and I get like obsessed with her, a month later, or not even a month later, a few days later, I could like have a crush on another girl. And then all of a sudden, like that girl's not as important. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, I guess like those needy feelings, I guess that wasn't true love after all. Because like I'm attracted to this other girl now. So like I definitely had to go through like a big phase, and I still do it now as like a maintenance thing, where it's like just talking to multiple girls just does that. Like you'll just notice it. You'll just be less needy with one girl if you have like a lot of options.